Hello, welcome to the lately JavaScript podcast, Hangout, whatever. This is the very lately in JavaScript podcast because we've been almost all day recording other podcasts, in this case of PHP, but this time it's time for and now I'm listening to my echo, and I'm not. Okay.
Oh, is it possible that we recorded like 3 podcasts and on the 4th we're starting having technical problems?
Because this month we could not use live coding, which is now called live review, and it was not accessible, and I could not also start the program. So now I was listening to my own stream in YouTube Live. But we are here to talk about JavaScript. And lately there have not been many interesting topics, but I found some obscure ones that I'm finding hard even to understand what they mean, but we'll try to make them useful for everybody that is watching. So the first topic, I need to share the screen if I can. It's interesting because it shows some animations. Let me reload the page. I don't need to reload the page, it animates by itself.
It's randomly animated.
It animates parts of the page that use vector graphics, SVG, I think.
Yeah.
And
as you see, the top is moving right now and bottom is moving, so it's animating this page.
Yeah, and this is done with the library mo.js, and it uses SVG. It even has some examples that do not seem to do anything, or that's
just how to draw a shape, for example. It's not the example of animation, but
okay. Also, it has some code, and it has some Babel code. Why they are using Babel? Is it different?
Probably some ECMAScript flavoring. I don't know.
Yeah, go and figure. They just like to be against everybody else. And
so
the second,
you can draw different shapes.
Yeah. Okay, but the ones that actually seem to be running are these ones. So this is a pentagon, and it shows some an animation. I'll try to understand these parameters. Years, there are duration, there is delay, and radius. So I suppose that it animates the radius, could it be? And also rotates the shape.
Scale and angle are animated from 0 to, you see?
Oh, I see. Scale and angle. Oh, now I get it. So the rest is fixed.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And feel, of course, color.
Well, my question to you, maybe you have a better idea, is what these things could be useful for?
For animations?
Yeah, right. I have developed an animation library a long time ago, but it had a purpose. For instance, you said animate this element, and it put like an underline character, a character. No, just like simulating as if the person was like underlining the text with a pen. It was helpful. Yes, and it was helpful to get the attention to the person. Oh, this is the information that you need to pay the attention. So I was wondering if these animations could also be used for that purpose.
Probably, but also to creating movie clips, for example, like this one, Run Pen. It should also play music, I think.
Yeah.
So you can create a clip art animations and stuff like that.
And the music is playing.
Yeah. And below there will be also a gun animation, interesting and stuff like that. Lots of code, yes. So you can
Yes, because it's dual shapes.
yeah, so you can animate the existing SVG elements that you not only draw them, but also animate the one that you enter in HTML, I think.
So the code for this, it's scrolled all the way. I don't like these scroll bars because you have a difficulty to handle them. Oh, this is the HTML, and this is this SCSS. So, is this animated? Oh.
It creates custom shape and then animates it.
Okay, this is for people that like to program animations.
Yes.
Yeah, this is not very easy to do, but okay, if you want to animate a radio that is playing a song and throwing some key notes, this is more complicated. Okay.
Scroll down. Let's see all the animations that are there, all the
Yeah.
examples. So for burst,
Burst.
burst is like exploding something quick anywhere.
This one?
No, it says quick anywhere. Click on, yeah. It was doing something for me. Try clicking rerun again, maybe. I don't know.
Let me stop this one.
Yeah, okay.
Rerun?
Yes, and now click anywhere. Nothing happens for you. It happens for me. Some swirl-like animations. Let me try to share it.
Yeah, because I'm using a regular Chrome.
Okay, so I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
So there are like explosion, like swirling and everything. So there are also timelines. So it's like a movie clip. Tweets. Oh, and here we have a gun.
Yeah.
Rerun gun. So it shoots and all the stuff.
Yes, I don't see that. Is that in the same click anywhere?
No, it says underneath. Scroll more.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why click anywhere doesn't work for you. You're not clicking strong enough.
It's a matter.
Press your mouse harder.
Yes, that could be, or longer. No, not. The fault is from Sarah Drasner. She didn't make this work for me. She doesn't like me. Okay, well, this is always interesting. I just wonder if there was a purpose to this, like having some animations that get the attention to the users. But okay, anyway, moving on to the next topic, there is an article here that talks about frameworks. Without the framework, why didn't we think of this sooner? When I read this, I immediately remember about Bootstrap, but Bootstrap is not so much about compiling frameworks into only the parts that you need, but rather just extracting the parts that you need. And in this case, is more for JavaScript. Well, I think this makes sense because if you just compile it for a specific purpose, the compiled version will be optimized for that purpose. That's what I got from this article.
Yes, something like that. I didn't fully, completely understand it either how it does it, but the idea is that you can use any or some specific frameworks that work with it, and you write the code and then use Svelte on it, which transpiles the code to vanilla JavaScript, only having probably, as you mentioned, the features that you're using from that framework. And basically, it provides a smaller library in the end, smaller code for you to use, because you're not using some kind of framework and frameworks code, but the vanilla code in the end. Really don't know how it
Yeah.
exactly, but it should be something to try.
I don't know because well, could be it's something like what they call aspect-oriented programming that lets you define only the aspect that you want to use from a certain part of the code. Are you saying something? I think you are muted.
No. I'm just trying. I'm just reading more on examples here. So I would like to see more on it, but didn't really see a link of examples. Only the guide how to do that.
Yeah, I was searching for the word aspect in the article to figure.
I think you're already on the next article.
Oh, did I jump the window? Yes. How could I?
Oh, okay. I found something from about this. Let me share the screen. So here we are using some kind of I don't know. Can you see my screen normally?
Uh, when you thought, okay.
Yeah, here. So here we can see that we are using some kind of component, some kind of third-party framework, which has a component and set, and this would be the end result or something like that. But if we run it through Svelte, we would have something like that. It took out all the parts of the framework that we are using, converted it to vanilla JavaScript, and the end code we are using is this, and not including the whole library. So something like this, I guess.
Yeah. So it kind of it disappeared. No. Okay. So it's sort of template based system. No.
Oh, it's something it could do, I think. Not specifically what it needs to do. So really complicated. If you want to know more, then read the article, try it yourself.
Yeah. Because well, many years ago I developed a sort of a meta programming language. You had something that had commands in XML, and it were bound to modules that were implemented in PHP, and they would execute actions that could actually be generating code. And this is abstract, it seems useless, but in practice, I used it to create ORM classes.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, for instance, a object relational mapping class could have functions to get one, get several, get update, save the object, delete. But if you don't need all those functions, you would actually save the ones that you need. And I actually use this until today. And it could generate PHP, JavaScript. In the beginning, I even supported Perl and Java. But those are the days, and when people used to use XML to store data. And but I use it until today, and for ORM purposes, it makes sense because you don't need all the possible functionality in all objects. So it would generate specific classes. Those are final classes. They do not try to do things at runtime. For instance, oh, I want to build this query to execute. At runtime, that query is fixed. So it would actually generate the code for the query, even if part of the query is taken from dynamically provided values that pass code to the functions. But I don't know if this is similar for the purposes. Anyway, it says yes. This is we can try serious applications in vanilla JavaScript without hitting a complexity wall, but a compiler can do it. Well, I don't know what is more complex. It depends on the person that is judging it, I think. Okay, well, anyway, moving on to the next topic. JavaScript developers, what's your language? This is yet another article that is a bit hard to understand its purpose, but from what I got is for you to refrain from using complicated constructs or trying to push features to a language that doesn't need to be this much complex. I don't know what you got from this article.
Yes, so there is an interesting premise describing a future 2021, and that you were coding something that's not working, and it's because the code is outdated, nobody supports it, and it was specifically written for some transpiler, and now this version updated and it's not compatible with it anymore, and you can't fix it and stuff like that. And I think the whole point of the article is that lots of users are starting to rely on Babel as a transpiler to use features that they are not supposed to use yet, at least not in production, but many of them are doing that.
Yeah.
And that in the end, in the future, you can run into problems with that. But actually, going back to the previous article we had about Svelte, it could solve this problem. I think that if we run the code through Svelte, we would make it framework agnostic. So even if the plugin was written for AngularJS, we could run it through Svelte. It will be converted in vanilla JavaScript, and anyone can use it. So there are no dependencies like that. That's an interesting point.
Yeah, but do you use Babel?
No, of course not.
But isn't it just for ECMAScript 6, or is it for other things?
Well, there's basically the author describes that he's worked hard on to extending official tests and ECMAScript and participating in community a lot. And the idea was that where it was here that in the article it asks. I'm reminded of a recent JavaScript users group meeting here in Boston. The presenter asked, "Does anyone know which features were introduced in AS 2016?" And they reply, "Function decorators." And actually, that's not part of ES 2016. Even its inclusion in 2017 is debatable. Oh, 2016, that introduced the structure in assignments. Not quite. The structure in binding was standardized in 2015. Basically, with Babel, we lose this line when everything has. So Babel provides features that not even yet standardized in ECMAScript any. So it's not only ECMAScript 2016 there.
That's a problem because we don't know anymore what is what.
Exactly.
What about TypeScript? Did you use TypeScript?
No, I know about it, but no, have not used it.
Because recently a user asked me, "Oh, I have a package in TypeScript. Is it okay to send to JS class? Sure.
Sure.
In the end,
Sure.
it is JavaScript, but I don't know TypeScript. Is it JavaScript with types or something like that?
Yeah, it's basically JavaScript flavor that I think Microsoft released it, so it should be similar to C# with classes and all.
Okay, but anything different from ECMAScript? I mean, in terms of features, it's
Yes,
more,
yes, the types, the full inheritance is object oriented of the C# like language. I think it should be all there. It's
so
by some
it's an interpreted C#, right?
No, I don't say it's exactly C#, but it's like that. I assume. I'm not really diving into
Okay.
it, but all object-oriented and type stuff make me think that. But yeah, in the end, it transpiled into the vanilla JavaScript either way.
Yeah. I start thinking that the JavaScript community hates itself because they are making things more complicated. But it's not just JavaScript. In PHP world, the other day, somebody showed me a stack trace of an error somewhere in the middle of a framework. It's more than 100 lines of stack. Oh, man. Do you mean what happened? Where were you when this error happened? People are complicating things more than they should. So it's not a problem just of JavaScript. It's people that sometimes build abstractions on top of abstractions, and it gets very complicated. Anyway, the next topic, hopefully simpler to understand, it talks about native JavaScript development after in the Internet Explorer. So by native here, I understand that they mean not needing polyfills to implement certain function calls that nowadays are available in practically all browsers, right?
Yes, exactly. I understand that too.
Yeah, so I don't know. Well,
So basically, it's a list of all the features that were not supported in older Internet Explorer versions. I think they count Internet Explorer 11 and Edge as the new one, and everything else is older one. So you would need all these features listed here with the instructions or polyfills how to use them on older versions, I guess.
yeah. There is page transition events. Is this a standard feature or something? Or
Yes, I think so.
I remember that you did wasn't it you that did a component that did some transitions when you changed from one page to the other?
Yep.
Do you mean that it's obsolete now, or maybe not?
No, it does not do the animation or I think transitions like that. It just notifies you some events. They are on events.
Our events, okay. Page show, page hide. So this is like somewhere different than onload and on unload.
Yes, if you are loading from cache or pre-rendering or stuff like that, there were many scenarios.
Okay, this is interesting, but I thought it was teaching something that we didn't know. Okay. Anyway, the next topic is about another thing that is probably even more confusing, which is the use of emojis that nowadays are supported in Unicode. Personally, I think it was not a very good idea, because now if you want to build a complete font, you need to put emojis in there. I don't think that was a good idea. So if you change the font, certain emojis stop appearing. Anyway, it says emoji prototype link the tail of characters of Unicode. So basically, this is probably not very specific to JavaScript, except for the notation that is used to represent Unicode characters. And
yeah. So, oh, why you're not loaded correctly? Okay, check my screen. So I'm sharing it right now. Can you see it?
Mine is not loading.
Yeah. Well, no, yours is loading, but you are not displaying the icons correctly, Unicode icons correctly for some reason.
Ah, that explains it, because that's the reason why I was telling to not to use icons. What's wrong with icon images?
Yeah. So if you can focus on my screen then for now.
Where? Okay, where?
Yeah. So basically,
now it makes sense to me, because I can't see those things.
basically, as Arthur mentions, he came across a tweet by Wes Boss in which he shared some JavaScript operations on strings, including the emoji family. So actually, if you split this emoji, in the end, it seems it contains 3 Unicode characters, which is a father, mother, and a child, of course, and using the spread operator. So it seems like you can combine Unicode characters to create new Unicode characters. And then the author went on experimenting further with it, and he found how emojis are combining. So, for example, you can have a human, add a color, and you would have a resulting human with different skin color. Or
now makes sense to me, because I don't have an icon.
yeah, so that you can create different families with 2 women and a child, or stuff like that, or multiple families with many child, and it actually changes the icon. So you can do like a mathematical operation of summing them up together into one icon. Or for example, the man singer icon, which is called David Bowie emoji. It's simply a man plus music plus headphones. Yes, and if you do the same with the woman, they would get a woman. And so here, for example, yeah, so there are more some examples. Even I'm not loaded some of them, so some of the icons, it seems.
Okay. So the challenge is what? Counting the actual length of characters?
I don't know actually, but in reality, he says that not all combinations are still are supported yet. So of course there are pre-programmed. It's not like a dynamically generated icons. It's all pre-programmed. But the idea is that if you combine 2 characters in Unicode, you can usually get and two or even more characters. You can usually get a new emoji. So that was the interesting part in this article.
Well, it makes sense. Now it makes sense to me, because I was not understanding. I thought it was more a challenge, like computing the length of an emoji character when it is represented with ASCII character. Which means that multiple characters will return just one emoji. But okay, I got it. Well, the next article is about something much simpler, which is a library called Load.js, and that library
Is loading JS.
Is loading JS, of course.
I'm a spoiler, yeah.
You shouldn't have said that. And it says 712 bytes. I don't know if this is accurate, because there were changes in the code. What I think it is impressive is that the whole bunch of files that a package needs: author, changelog, license, readme, release, bower, gulp file, package, test. I guess they have thousands of files in tests. How to test something that in practice is just this. Some function, and so on. It allows, I don't know, did you see the actual example of using this code?
And some in the README, I think, yeah, there is.
README?
Yeah, here.
Okay. So
JS. So
how,
you provide.
how do you load the Load.js library?
What do you mean? How did I guess?
Oh, do
I
they
don't know.
put the script tag?
Call it intuition.
No, it's Inception. It's like the effect on live coding when you are capturing the one live coding screen.
So it's the only library that you load normally and load others through it, I guess.
Yeah, these people are crazy. Anyway, I think it takes care of queuing, so multiple scripts that maybe depend on other do not load in parallel and cause errors.
Yeah, one interesting actually like a feature or maybe side feature that Load.js also detects script load failures from AdBlock Plus and Ghostery. So if you are loading ads through this script, you can detect if they are blocked by ad blocks and like not display content to end user if they're using ad block, for example, or something like that.
Oh, that was an interesting feature. I missed that part.
Yeah,
Let's annoy the users that use AdBlock.
exactly.
Like show some messages like you are mean, you don't want our site to survive, you are
Yeah,
blocking the ads, you
shows them
are
emojis,
yeah, exactly, emojis of some bodies.
red balls.
Yeah. Oh, this is funny to be even mentioned. Anyway, well, seems to be useful, and I can see. I have done a component many years ago, but I think it somehow became obsolete and probably not very well compatible with all browsers. Which was a content loader component that it would load.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it would defer the load of certain parts of the page so it doesn't delay the rest of the page. But nowadays, there is a sync, right?
Yes.
Yeah, for things that are not dependent on each other, I think it can work well. Well, this is yet another loader library. And finally, we have something that, after all, it's easier to understand. It's a solution. I don't know. Is this a library? I couldn't find the actual code.
Yeah, I think so. It's on GitHub. It's again lots of files, even tests and demo and build and scripts and stuff like that. Better not look at it. You'll get frustrated. No, don't look at it. Okay.
But I couldn't resist. It requires the required yes, I think.
Well, it's
No, it's
required.
Babel.
Don't
No,
spamming.
what's this?
Yes.
Oh, please.
But better not look at it. I told you. You're gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah, don't let your kids take these drugs. Anyway, let's stick to the actual effect, which is a smooth image zooming, I would say.
Yeah.
And the trick is that it uses CSS zoom property, right?
Yes, not only it also animates the positions and stuff like that. So I think there were two images: the thumbnail that we are looking now, and the end image that is loaded, and everything between is animated using CSS.
So, what about this grayscale effect?
No, it's a thumbnail just in that color. So I don't.
The image is in this color.
Yeah.
So the final image that is in color is a different image?
Yes, there are two images. Thumbnail and the...
But it's interesting because I think at least in the old times, people used to try to make some zooming effects on images by creating larger images. and that was not very efficient. But this way, it's very efficient and hopefully less memory consumption. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was yet another JavaScript Hangout with a bunch of confusing topics, but we finally reached to the end. Since these were topics that related things that happened in December, and December is always not a very good year in terms of activity. I mean, month in terms of activity. Hopefully, next podcast have more interesting topics to come out about. So, on my behalf, Happy New Year to everybody, and that's all for now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I remember that I forgot to make the summary in the beginning. So let's pretend that I'm going to do the summary, but it should be quick. So okay. you just pretend that you don't know.
I'm just sitting here looking pretty.
Exactly. I wouldn't say pretty, but probably your wife says that. For me, what they say is that my son represents the evolution of the species. What are you saying? Are you saying that I am not evolved? My son is evolved, I am not?
He's a better version of you.
Yes. Well, at least I hope. Nobody wants a son that is a worse version. Okay.
Yes, true.
Let's just record the summary. So this month we have several interesting but probably some confusing topics. First, we start here with a
suggestion.
A topic
Can
about.
you guess what suggestion is?
Oh, the screen.
Yes.
I forgot that I've stopped the screen sharing. Do you see it?
Loading. Yep, now I see it.
Okay. First, let's start with a brief summary of the topics of this podcast hangout. First, we have here an article about a library, Momo.js. It says it is a library for motion for the web, and as you may see already, there are some parts of the page that are being animated. This is achieved with SVG graphics, and there are some examples in the article that show how it works with some examples of code. Next, we talk about frameworks without the framework. Why didn't we think of this sooner? It's basically an article about somehow generating code to use at runtime that is simpler than the whole framework with all the features that it can use. So it will be a smaller set of the code, just what you need for your application. In the next article that you want to comment, it says JavaScript developers, what's your language? It's somehow a criticism to the complications that may arise from using things like transpilers like Babel and such, and the consequences that it may have in the future that you should be aware. The next article is about native JavaScript development after Internet Explorer. It basically talks about what is it like today that we can use many features of JavaScript and HTML5 in the modern browsers without using polyfills. So it's all native to the current browsers and eventually without jQuery. The next topic is about using emojis and combining emojis to generate different images that may represent a single emoji, but they are composed of several emojis. And this talks about the possibilities of using Unicode to combine emojis in JavaScript. The next topic is about a library. This one is a simple one. It's a library that can work for modern browsers and provides a synchronous loading of scripts in a way that works well with the current browsers that are actively being supported. And finally, we have a topic on performing smooth image zooming in a way that takes advantage of features like the CSS zoom property and use that to implement animations. Okay, I think now we are done finally.
You wouldn't have done it. You wouldn't have done it so good if it was in the beginning, not in the end. So always well.
Yes, that's the advantage. And after all, there will always be people that just listen to the beginning. Actually, now I'm separating into videos, one with the summary, and people, if they are interested, will see the rest. Okay. Well, I guess that is all for now. Just